All right. This might be the national dish of China. It's tomato fried eggs. Super simple. Got tomatoes, got eggs, green onions, cornstarch, optional chicken stock, homemade, super gelatinous. Look how jiggly it is. And that's it. I'm gonna take my green onions, cut the bits off, and then I'm gonna cut them into like 2-inch segments, like this. This is mainly for color, but it also adds a little bit of a kick. So there's that. And then with the tomatoes, these are Roma tomatoes. I'm gonna cut them in half again, and then into thirds. And that's all the tomatoes cut. Don't crack your eggs like on the edge of a bowl. It's gonna contaminate the inside because, you know, you're making a sharp sort of indentation. Go find a flat surface and boom. Okay, so I'm just beating the eggs, making sure they're, you know, all nicely incorporated. And the yolks and the whites. Just gonna hit it with a little bit of salt, basic seasoning. That's it. And once the wok is properly preheated, I'm just gonna go in with about a teaspoon or a tablespoon of vegetable oil, and then the tomatoes go in. And you want to let them almost like sear a little bit. And like I said, you want the skin to have some blistering. That way the tomatoes get caramelized a little bit and develop some more flavor. I'm also gonna season the tomatoes with a little bit of salt and about half a teaspoon of sugar. In some areas of China, they make this dish super sweet. And here I'm trying to make a savory version of it. I like both versions. But because I have some quality chicken stock here, it'd be weird to make it all sweet. So once the tomatoes are starting to break down a little bit, you can use your ladle or spoon or whatever, just kind of further break them down a bit, almost like crushing them. Drop my green onions in. I don't want the color to change drastically, so now I'm going to drop my chicken stock. About a cup of that in there. And essentially I'm trying to make a quote-unquote tomato gravy here, but with a lot of texture. You know, I don't want the tomatoes to turn into like a tomato sauce, but I also want some liquid, some body. So now you just kind of let this go, let it come up to a rolling boil, which it already has. Now this step is kind of tricky. I'm going to take a heaping teaspoon of cornstarch. I'm going to get some cold water. It's about like a couple tablespoons of cold water. I'm going to add that to this tomato situation. You want to stir well. At this point, I'm going to turn the heat off. The slurry thickens the tomato gravy soup sauce situation. Makes it all nice and viscous and sticky. The tomatoes are done for now, so I'm going to take them out. All right. Giving the wok a quick rinse and a quick wipe. It's a two-step dish because eggs cook much faster than tomatoes. If you put them in together, you're going to get a mess. Half a tablespoon of oil. You get your eggs. I like to let them sit for a bit so that they could set. So once they're kind of set, I'm gonna push them around a little bit. And then at this point, it seems like it's too early to add the tomatoes, but I'm gonna add them anyway. Heat is turned off, and then you just kind of stir it and let the eggs cook and get incorporated into the tomato gravy. It's kind of a misnomer. It's called tomato fried eggs, but really it's more like a gravy situation. Once you're confident that the eggs are cooked through, dish is done. I might have made too much of this, but that's never a problem. This is a dish that every Chinese person grew up eating. Not everyone likes it, but everyone's had it numerous times. Again, there's a lot of different ways to do it. Some people like the eggs more set. Some people like the dish sweeter. If you don't have chicken stock or you're a vegetarian, just don't add that. Add a little bit of water at the beginning. And that's a vegetarian dish. Tomatoes are high in natural MSG. Same thing with the eggs. I added some chicken stock for some flavor, also for some texture. The gelatin in the chicken stock helps create this nice and, saucy consistency. If you go to like a random eatery in China and for like, weekday lunches, this is probably the best option on the menu because it's cheap. It's got a lot of different nutrients and it tastes good. It falls, like this specific way of eating it or presenting it falls under the category of gai jiao fan, or toppings poured over rice. So you have a plate of white rice and then you make a stir fry, whatever it is. It could be this, it could be mapo tofu, and then you pour it on top of the white rice. And this way, like, you're not eating plain old white rice. It's flavored. It's got different texture from the tomato fried egg. If you want to like add different flavors, you could. You could add some minced garlic at the beginning to obviously give it some garlicky flavor. Or I've seen people like put ketchup in with the tomato gravy to make it a little bit more sweet, a little bit more acidic. If you take a look at this spoonful of the whole dish, you got some tomato skin and flesh dangling down here. Most of the rice is stained with the sauce, and then you have bits of eggs in there, and then you have some green onions. What else are you asking for? This is it. One thing you do want to make sure is to properly season the dish, because if you don't do that and you pour that over rice, the whole thing is going to taste like nothing. So make sure you season to taste, and you season in steps. Season your eggs when you beat them, season your tomatoes when you first cook them in the wok, and then toward the end, just give everything a quick taste to make sure that it's ready to go. This is it, the legendary tomato fried eggs. Just get some tomatoes, get some eggs. Just make sure you figure out the sequence of action when you make the dish. And also, like, don't try to make it with like canned tomatoes. It's not gonna work. You have to have like fresh tomatoes. But other than that, super quick, delicious, and like, subscribe, comment, share, all that good stuff. Make this dish. I'm out.